Welcome back to Good Day Columbia. Time now was 8:41, and this morning President Donald Trump is not backing down when it comes to birthright citizenship. He says he's vowing to do something about it even after the Supreme Court recently ruled against his attempt to stop it. In a landmark ruling, the justices indicated that birthright citizenship is a foundational American principle and not, as President Donald Trump argued, an outdated post-Civil War relic. So how did we get here? Here to explain it all is constitutional attorney Jay Bender. Jay, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Jay, so let's get straight to it. At the heart of the case are the opening words of the Constitution's 14th Amendment. We're going to put it up for the folks that are watching here. And it says that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Now, the president says that doesn't cover people who are here illegally. How did we get here?
Race. I think Justice Barrett pointed it out quite clearly. It's a race-based effort by white supremacists and conservatives to eliminate a group of people that are clearly covered by the 14th Amendment according to 90 years of precedent and the common law of England, which is the basis of all of this.
Some would read the 14th Amendment, Jay, and they will say there's no ambiguity. It's clear what the Constitution says. So this administration says otherwise. Apart from what the justices ruled, what do you think was the factor in pushing this?
I think it's quite interesting that Roberts wrote this opinion and traced history and precedent. But in an earlier decision giving the president power to fire regulatory agency staff, he ignored history and he ignored precedent. I don't know whether Roberts is trying to resurrect a reputation of not being a political hack, which he claims, but those two rulings within a number of days are inconsistent structurally. Now, Barrett takes on, not Barrett, but Jackson takes on the dissent, Alito, Thomas, Gorsuch, for their claim of being textualist. The words count, but here they want to ignore the words and look to a fringe theory that has been developed. And it's developed every time we have an influx of non-white, non-native citizens. For example, and I find it interesting, Alito's ancestry is Italian. There was a movement to forbid Italian immigration. There was discrimination against the Irish. Kavanaugh's Irish. And obviously discrimination against Thomas's ancestors, being descended from former slaves. So I think there's a strong racial component to Trump's everything, but certainly with respect to his notion of ending birthright citizenship. Ironically, there's an argument that two of his sons would not be American citizens because their mother might not have been a legal United States citizen at the time of their birth. I don't know about that. I've heard the same argument with respect to Marco Rubio, whose parents came from Cuba and might not have been American citizens or here legally at the time he was born.
Jay, what's interesting is the ruling was 5-4, which is pretty close.
It's very close.
Could we potentially see this come back again? You know, some people are thinking about Roe v. Wade, how that was overturned. So in the years to come, could it come back again?
It can always come back. The question is, because the Supreme Court gets to decide its jurisdiction, like it did the other day in the Jean Carroll case, declined
the defamation suit, right?
Right, declined to take the case. So it could decide not to take another 14th Amendment case. The worrisome part for people who have looked at this is the Kavanaugh concurrence is in the result only, and he argues that it should have been a statutory issue resolved by Congress, which is what Trump is talking about. And as long as he thinks he has the majority he has in Congress, there's some possibility that we might get legislation which would try to end birthright citizenship.
Jay, do you believe I guess in the time that we're living in, that it is possible to ratify the Constitution to remove birthright citizenship?
No, I don't believe we could get, I'm not sure we could get any constitutional amendment out of Congress, and I don't think we could get one through the states.
The president is saying that birthright citizenship is expensive to the United States, and also points to it's fueling what he calls birth tourism. So is it factual? Is it something that we can look into and say, hey, this is what's happening?
I think it's possible. I read a piece yesterday that said the Russian owners of Trump properties are renting properties to Russian citizens who can come here and have their children born and have dual citizenship. So I don't know how pervasive birthright citizenship is. I mean, I'm not in crowds where I would find somebody who came across the border just to have a child.
Yeah. So we're talking about, so Jay, so definitely we're going to keep you right here on Good Day Columbia. Of course, the next time we'll have you around again to talk more about the constitutionality of all of these different cases. So Jay Bender, thank you so much for being here and breaking it all down for us. Stay with us. There's more Good Day Columbia coming up after the break.